Hi, I'm Fab Dupont. I make records for a living. Over the years, I worked with mostly indie people because I started just, making my own music and doing this and that. So there's a lot of indie people I work with. There's some bigger people I work with. It ranges from Shakira for the World Cup song to illustrious unknowns to people in the middle like Will Knox or Bieber Gilberto or people like that. It really runs the gamut. The name of the person doesn't really matter. What matters is the quality of the music. I'm a computer guy. I've been making records with computers since day one because I couldn't afford to go to studios. So I would do it with whatever computer I had and whatever processing inside the computer. So I started, there were maybe 10, 20 plugins available. Now there's I have probably 300-400 plugins in my folder. I used maybe 30, 40 because today's problem is there's too much choice. So you can get lost. What matters is to go to the essential stuff that really does something for you, stays out of the way, and sounds good. A lot of things changed for me when I got the Sonnox EQ. The results were very different from everything I could get. And since then, I really started paying attention to the different quality of tone and the different quality of usage, feeling between the different companies of plugins and the different styles of plugins. I use my Sonnox plugins as my console, if you will. It's my staple, because I know how it behaves. It stays out of the way. It enhances my music. I get no artifacts. It's super easy to use and it's very stable. Then I use other companies to color or do special effects. My staple has always been, since I've got them, the 3 or 4 Sonnox plugins that are on all my mixes. The Sonnox EQ changed a lot of things for me, so I can't get away from it. I tried every new plugin that comes out, and they're all great, they're wonderful. But there's something special about the Sonnox that always brings me back to it. It's easy to use, it's totally transparent. It sounds nice, you can't really mess it up. It's cross-platform, I can use it in any software I want. So if I'm in live creating some track, I can use the Sonnox EQ, and then I can, when I mix the song in Pro Tools, I can use the same EQ, so I'm in familiar territory. The filters are awesome. You can have a lot of gain. It doesn't, crumble or bit crush or anything. It's great. So I use that. I use the dynamics because I don't hear them. And if I'm going to level a track, I don't want to hear the compressor. Now, if I want to make it sound funky, I'll use maybe something else. But if I want to have a true leveler and I don't want to spend 800 hours automating my track, I'll put the dynamics, the Sonnox dynamics on it because it just works. Inflator, invaluable tool. Inflator is kind of like the magic dust. It makes everything sound a little bigger, better. Reverb, totally transparent. Sums in mono, perfect. You can really tell the difference between a good and a bad plugin when you hit the mono button for reverbs. You hit the mono button, everything goes away. Bad programming. The Sonnox Reverb doesn't do that. It's always lush and lean. It's beautiful, never in the way. And then the suppressor is the magic tool because recordings are so, how would you say, creative these days. You get stuff where you have like 10 dB peaks at 200 hertz and you don't know what to do with it. The suppressor is the great tool for that. And also for de-essing, since everybody records vocals about this close, you spend half your mix de-essing everything. And the suppressor is magical, just truly magical. So those are my staples. I do use the Denoiser quite a bit for PureMix, which is a website about tutorials, and we like things to be very clean, so we use the Sonnox Denoiser to remove the computer noises and stuff like that. It's fantastic. Every plugin that came out of there is just great. I know it's going to work, so it's a staple of quality. As I was learning how to do this, there were a lot of confusion because there's a lot of confusion. It's pretty complicated. Everything is interconnected. Compression, EQ, leveling, bad tracking, good tracking, arrangement. It's a difficult thing to wrap your head around. So I had a lot of questions and I had nobody to ask the questions to. Nobody. And then one day somebody was kind enough to take an hour of their day to explain something to me, something very simple about compression. And it completely changed everything for me. And I was very grateful. And so as I got a little more, into the business and started getting better at what I do, I started getting a lot of phone calls from people that were like me 5 years before, like, how do you do this? How do you do this? And hundreds of emails. So I told myself, you know what? Instead of answering every one question one by one, which was basically eating me alive, I said, let's just shoot a video and put it online. And then apparently the response was very nice. So we put that together into a site called puremix.net, where basically it's like, what I wanted to recreate is the experience of being an assistant to somebody who's kind enough to tell you what they think things should be like. And there's nothing like that. There was nothing like that. So we made it happen, and the response has been great. So you can go to puremix.net and you can watch me and other engineers mix or track. We're trying to explain the concepts behind moving that knob this way, as opposed to just telling you, well, this knob, you know, the dB knob gives you gain or cut. Big deal. But what happens if you push 5 dBs at 500 hertz on a bass drum? Why would you want to do that? What does it do to the snare drum? That's the fun stuff, and that's what we're trying to do. So the key to cut through the maze of all these options that are totally overwhelming, I find, is to find your staples, to find your tools that work for you, and learn them, deeply, deeply, deeply learn them until they're part of you. And that's the way to make a better sounding record.